Open your ears, I promise this will take a second. Put you on game, my brother, teach you valuable lesson. Respect yourself, we happy, no need to reminisce. No need to worry, you chillin' with men with confidence. Speak your mind, say what's up with your life. We can teach you wrong for right and take the darkness out your life. So what's good? What's good? It ain't nothing but a small thing. Have a seat, you can talk to us about anything. Money's, cars, sports, or maybe your business. Positive goals in your life support better living. A pep talk to the ones who in the darkest hour. Remember, sunlight comes after a rain shower. There's nothing wrong with the man who take notes. Don't take this as a joke. These words are well spoken. Teammates, cause we playing to win. I have a seat at this table with some men with confidence.
And welcome to Men in Confidence Sharing, where we, the men of a certain age, share our thoughts, ideas, and opinions in confidence. And guess what? Today we are joined by the whole crew. We have myself, the host, Tony. We have Sean. We have Rhino. We have Terrence. So we're going to go one by one and say hello to everyone. Hello, Sean.
Hey, everybody. How y'all doing?
Hello, Rhino.
It's good, everybody.
And hello, Terrence.
Greetings and salutations, people. What's up?
All right. Today we have an interesting topic for you. And this is more in the line of financial thinking and how you manage your budget. Okay, so let's start with the concept that you're managing your finances. How much do you allocate to needs versus how much you allocate to wants? Do you have vices? Do you have things that you consider to be non-negotiables when you budget your money, when you budget your funds? Are there certain things that you cannot do without when you manage your money? And I'm going to throw that question in particular out to the fellas. Are there certain things that you cannot do without when you manage your funds?
I don't know if anybody's in a hurry to like pick it up first. I usually don't step out quickly, but I don't know if I could say that there is the defined things that I gotta have. There are things that can become pitfalls for me really quickly. Things that I like to do, I guess they would fall more in a category of the vices and things like that. We all have the intention of paying bills and doing what we're supposed to do, keeping the family afloat, being that man, being those providers, the same things you've heard us talk about here all the time. Everybody has the greatest intentions when you first kick out, but there are pitfalls. We all have our pitfalls. I know mine specifically, since we're talking about specific to certain things. You know what I mean? I was telling the guys a little bit earlier, I eat out too much. I know I do. I do. I like to eat out a lot. I like to go places. I like to hear about new restaurants. What restaurant? Where's that at? Over on what side of town? 12 miles from me? Yeah, I got to check that out. I'm looking up stuff. I'm going over there. I'm more than likely going to check that out. Not only that, just, it's off from work late, and just don't feel like cooking. You picking up something, you going home. You know what I mean? Favorite Chinese restaurant, all that stuff. And before you know it, you're looking at the balance, or you're looking at the budget, and you're like, oh, shoot. All right, I got to tighten up. Next week's got to go better than this because now my bills does stack up a little bit and I need to get a little bit better. So that's definitely one for me, of course. I love to travel. I like to go places. So, it's not a non-negotiable, but I definitely, after about 6 months, I'm going to start going stir crazy if I don't have a trip on deck. I'm going to tell you right now, I got to do something. I don't care if it's just, I took a weekend and went right over here and just looked out the window or whatever, just got away from the house. It doesn't even matter. But you give me every 6 months or so, I got to, just to keep my whole mindset straight. I got to. But that's me when we talk about specific pitfalls, things that I could fall into and that will really make me turn around and look, my intentions were great, but my intentions didn't add up because I did too much of this.
I totally get that, man. As the single guy in the group, you think I would have stacks on stacks on stacks. But no, I have my vices. And one of my main vices used to be my food consumption. And I lived off of fast food, which I'm actively stopping now because I had a job that was super demanding, and it kind of put me in a position where I don't want to food prep. I don't have time. I only have time to come home, relax, wind down, get some sleep, get some sleep because I got to go back. So I had to change things now that I'm not doing that job. So now I can better control what I eat and how I eat. In fact, today was the first day I went out because it was just my birthday. My roommates took me out. But I'm finally at a place where I can control my food. I can actually go ahead and food prep. I can prep my food. I can take my lunch to work. I don't have to drop dimes all day, every day. So aside from that, I don't know that I have any other vices that are non-negotiable. And the only thing that I can think of, I wanted to say gaming, but I would have to say internet. I've got to have internet. It's just, if I don't have internet, then everything else is going to be a problem. Sure, I guess I can go without it if I absolutely have to and just find myself at the library. But that was before COVID. All right, you can't just go and sit around in a place full of people.
Right.
But if I'm going to go with anything, I'm probably going to go with the internet.
I didn't think about that, Rhino.
Right.
That's a good one. That is a really good one because I was right there with you with that whole gaming thing. And then I started thinking about it. I'm like, well, I mean, I still play games. I get on the sticks every once in a while with my son, but that's the thing. It's every once in a while. It's not as much of a non-negotiable, I gotta do it kind of thing. You know, used to be I have referenced my love for my Dolphins and Heat and Hurricanes and that sports thing. That's like, I gotta watch my games. But then started having kids, and it's hard to be cheering for a team when you got a toddler who's asleep, or, you know, a mom who's been up with the kid and now you're on daddy duty and she needs a rest. You can't be yelling at the TV. So those things have kind of become negotiable. My entertainment, you know, I love my music. I'm gonna date myself here a little bit, and like buying my CDs and buying my movies, and don't need to do that as much now with digital media, but those things were things that I've invested in and spent money on religiously. Backpedaled off of that a little bit. But that internet thing, that's a real one, because I wouldn't be able to do this, what we're doing right now, without the internet. I wouldn't be able to, partake of my digital media as frequently, or as, I'll just leave it at frequently, as I do on a regular basis, because
Right.
I have the internet. That I think is probably my non-negotiable. If I had a non-negotiable, it's definitely my vice, in the sense that that's something that I look forward to, is being able to connect, whether it's on my phone and I'm checking socials, or I'm playing a game, or whatever. That's kind of it's really become kind of like the lifeline. So that would be the non-negotiable, the vice or whatever. And to the point of where, I might let some other things go financially, bill wise. Not that I'm advocating not paying bills or anything like that, but that internet bill has steadily risen the ranks of priority of importance. And that's got to get taken care of.
Okay, so let me jump in because my mind has flip-flopped twice since hearing y'all speak. And like, I was ready to go in with my grumpy Smurf. Like, I ain't got none, simple as that. But when Rhino dropped the internet thing, I was like, oh yeah, that's me. I gotta have my internet. So I was like, yep, That's one non-negotiable. That's one vice. That's one extra thing that I got to have. But then I started thinking a little bit more. This is 2021, almost 2022. Internet ain't a luxury no more. That's a bill, right? That's a bill like the light bill, like the water bill,
Yes,
like
it
the
is.
gas bill,
Yes, it
like
is.
groceries. Like
Exactly.
you're not existing without internet. That's like saying I'm treating myself to gas in my tank. You know, that's like saying I'm treating myself to water coming out my shower head. Nah, that's not. To me, that's not a non-negotiable, because you're really not going to be able to function without it, right? It's not something that you could do without. So I'm back on my podium with I do have some things that I would like to have, and there are things that I do prefer to have, but as a whole, I guess I don't know if this is a personal thing with me or whether it's because of the way I view being a father, parent, head of household, that my stuff gets kicked to the side for family stuff. And it's not me diminishing myself at all. I feel like this is just a role you play when you take the leadership role. The leadership role is not a role of being in charge, it's a role of service. You are the first person in line to give up something. So my wants come later than everyone else's needs and necessities. So my wants are not 1, 2, and 3. They're like 8, 9, and 10. And I'm gonna leave that at that.
What you mean? Somebody coming to your house, hey man, what's your Wi-Fi password? What you mean you ain't got no Wi-Fi password? Hold up, dog.
Hey, what is this,
I was
bedrock?
I was wondering what was wrong with my phone when I came up here. I was still on my mobile data. It didn't even detect the network. What was up? Yeah. So yeah, I definitely feel y'all. I can hear y'all on the internet. I didn't even think about that, Ronald. Like I said, that was a good drop. But yeah, and I feel you, T, on like you really don't. You right about that. You really don't, like, everything has to put secondary. But I will say that to your point of, we have to be the first as a true providers of our family. We have to be the first ones to give up something and things like that. But to my point, as I was saying a little bit earlier, to me, sometimes that can make the crown a little heavy. All that giving up, being the first to give up, it can kind of be like, you know what? I'm going to give up something. Something ain't going to work. Because this crown's going to weigh my head down. And it's going to fall off. I'm going to have to pick it up from down there. It's just what it is. So I'm going to do something that probably is going to be rogue eventually. Whether it's I bought me some sneakers because I said I didn't want to give a crap or whatever. And it's probably going to wind up going rogue in a bad way. But yeah, I think that's something we don't, I know that's a conversation it's probably a whole nother conversation, but it's a conversation I feel like is not talked about enough. When you are in your true role, there is somewhat of a pressure. When you're doing what you're actually supposed to do, it's like heavy wears the head. Heavy wears the head of the crown. Heavy is the head of the crown that wears the crown. So, it can be a pressure. It can be what, I can't have nothing? You know what I'm saying? You ever seen, if there's a movie that I love, it's called The Family Man, with Nicolas Cage, kind of a holiday type movie. He's a
love that movie.
Yeah, love it. Yeah, and he, so the biggest part where he, when he's transitioning from, single guy to Don Cheadle done made him the family guy, and he gives him the bell. The first thing he does, he gets home, and the daughter, takes that bell. Hey, Daddy, thank you. You bought this for me, and runs off with his bell. And he's like, my bell, but my bell is. You just gave it to me. Don't I need it for something? Like, nah, that's what I gave it to you for. You're good. You're good.
I agree with you. I totally agree with you. It does get heavy at times. I feel like I'm repeating this too much, but there's a famous line that says, "With great power comes great responsibility." And unfortunately, if you want the job, you got to take everything that come along with it. Now, I fully agree that we do need to have that conversation on what happens when that crown does get heavy, because it does get heavy. And sometimes you want to put that sucker down. Sometimes you want to take it and chuck it in the woods.
I done had to go get mine a couple times, I'm sure.
get it out the trash can, wipe it off a little bit.
I keep
they ain't gonna never
thinking
see
about.
I quit.
Keep thinking about Damocles' sword. Sean mentioned heavy. The crown gets heavy, and I keep thinking about Damocles' sword. You know, you're in that position of power. You know, there's a certain peril that comes. You know, stuff that you gotta watch out for. Which I'm sure, you know, me being single, I don't necessarily have that peril, except to my own self. But I can imagine what the pressures that you guys face being fathers and having a house. I mean, you gotta. If I end up sleeping in my car, I can do that. I can't be in your position and be like, oh, I guess I gotta sleep in my car for a month. There's no way. There's no way. You know,
Well, the good thing is, because you know what your responsibilities are, for the most part, I think I can say this safely for the group of us who are providers and married and have families. Because you know what your priorities are, you make absolutely sure those things are covered. And if for some reason you find yourself in a pinch where something is going to be a little off, you're going to pinch off a little bit here, pinch off a little bit there, pinch off a little bit all the way around to make sure that those priorities still get covered. And then you just catch up with everything else the best that you can. Especially when you know you got other people relying on you. That just kind of goes par for the course, as they say. But this whole notion of the crown being heavy and what to do when it starts getting heavy, that is definitely a conversation that needs to be had at a different time. But I think that still kind of connects to this with the idea of there are certain things, and this is where I was thinking that whole vice thing would come into play a little bit more. Like, you know what? At the end of the day, this is going to kind of sound lame to some, but it is what it is. I can slide over the cookout, grab me a nice Oreo cookout shake, and for that 8 minutes or whatever it is, because you know you ain't getting one of them through a straw just like easy. You're going to have to let it soften up or get the spoon out or whatever.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know, but that time that you get to have just to yourself with that little piece of joy and that little ray of sunshine for that whatever it is, those little things in my mind are the vice that kind of, okay, ground's getting heavy. Let me stand in my sunshine with my Oreo shake. All right, I got that little pat on the back, that little sugar rush or whatever you want to call it. Now I know it's time for me to go ahead and plant my feet and lift and get back to it. But I don't know. What are you guys' vices? And I'll do my air quotes vices in that regard.
I want to jump in real quick because I want to ask a question. Like everyone can answer Terrence's question, but this is kind of also mixed in with that because Terrence just gave an example of where he's, shall I say, scratching an itch, and I'm wondering what was more important. Was it the ice cream or was it the getaway? Right? Like, was it the purchase or was it the ability to just have a moment for yourself? And this is why I asked that, because I think this might be where this is a little bit different for guys than it is for women, in that I think that a lot of the things that a woman will consider to be their vice or their non-negotiable, a lot of times it's something tangible or something you could purchase or something you could get, a service or an item. It's a noun. It's a person, place, thing, item.
Yeah, I got you.
Right? Whereas for a guy, I'm not saying that it's not a noun, but a lot of times, one of the things that will give us more relaxation than anything else is just time, space, just the ability to just let loose and decompress. And a lot of times that don't cost anything.
True enough. Hey, listen, true enough. It's nothing like, hey, babe, so we've been talking for most of the day. I'm finna get off. I'm coming home. But I'm gonna go ahead and be off here. I'm gonna talk to you when I get at the house. Okay, babe? It's gonna take me about a half hour to get there. That ride, dog, to listen to, EPMD or whatever on the radio, to tune in to the 107.5 or whatever the case may be, and listen to my, my college team or whatever it is I want to do. Just ride and watching the crazy people and drivers try to get on, and decompressing from work to getting home sometimes can be, like you say, that little square bliss. So that kind of, to answer what, a little bit of what Terrence's question, or was saying, what's that thing you can do to decompress? And I can feel you, Tone. There are some things that, our ladies do and they can do and help them decompress that we ain't of course on the same level with. Some things I've suggested to, even ladies, that if I'm not saying guys, y'all can't do it. I'm just saying, 9 times out of 10, we ain't gonna do some of the same things. I'm not saying, if her red bottoms make her feel better, I'm not saying you can't drop a pair of Jordans, and do the same thing. But 9 times out of 10, like Tone's saying, it's probably not gonna line up. One thing that doesn't kind of cost a thing that we probably ain't gonna do, I'm not taking a bath with candles around me and wine and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Watching the bubbles come all the way up to my nose. We not doing that. So I don't suggest that be something that we do to decompress. Or if you do it, don't tell nobody. All right, just keep that. Just keep that on the personal line. But that, and definitely that's not one of mine. But
what you trying to say? A grown man can't have a bubble bath?
Hey, but don't tell nobody. That's what I'm saying. So, take your bubble bath. Don't tell me about it.
One of my biggest decompression agents has been gaming. I mean, I got out of gaming for years because I had grown up. And then I realized, look, I need to do something to get this stress out. And I went back to playing video games, and it has been the biggest stress reliever, and I haven't gone back to not gaming. And it was kind of it was a small point of contention with my ex, because I don't know why. Oh, well, I know why. She just wanted to ruin my life. But but I think she just failed to understand that, look, I need my space. Let me have this. I deal with a lot of nonsense at work. I have to deal with stupid people doing stupid things, and it's my job to stop the stupidity. And so I can't come home and bring this to you. You don't want me to bring this to you. Let me get this out of my system. And I do that by blowing up digital terrorists and zombies and spaceships. Let me do that. Let me de-stress, so that when we start to communicate, I'm not growling and barking at you, But gaming has been it for me. I can, and I've been kicking around getting off of gaming for a while, because I would really like to focus on my writing. I would really like to focus on more on my podcast and more on my YouTube channel, and building my brand and establishing myself. But for right now, I just gotta kind of take things slow and pick and choose my points of entry when it comes to my unwinding and the things that I focus on. And it also depends on how much time I have too.
So now I want to ask the question. So let's just imagine everyone's in a good financial place. All of your needs are pretty much taken care of. Let's say that you do have a little bit of extra change in that budget. What are the vices that you would put money towards or that you would spend on? What are those things that you would consider using to treat yourself?
I definitely want to go back to New York, not just to visit family, but to enjoy the city. I'd love to go and see Hamilton or any other play. I'd like to go and see my friends up there, but the money that I do have that I can spare, it will probably most definitely go to that.
I was saying one of the things before that was big for me was my entertainment. So yeah, if I'm no worries, I'm going to every NBA game, NFL game, pay-per-view, whether it's UFC, and I'm not even a big UFC fighter fan like that. Wrestling, I'm there. I'm at as many events as possible and in as many different places as possible, just because I like a good show. Now that doesn't mean that I wouldn't be right there beside Ryan at a Hamilton either, but I'm about trying to get out there and see as many different shows and things as possible. That's absolutely has to happen.
Y'all gonna mess around and talk this Hamilton thing up. I just said, part of what I'd be doing would be traveling, moving around, going this place or that. Facebook would be I'd be on there at Facebook with the Belize sign in the background, just deuces up, that kind of thing. I love it, man. I absolutely love it. So that would be my big thing, where I'd be all over the place, because that and Cape Liberty with the me mimicking the Statue of Liberty. I got my little torch I bought for the stand with Lady Liberty behind me.
Right, yeah.
These are pictures I got to have, bro. Me standing in front of the Bellagio fountain with the 2-piece signs up. That has to happen, man. These are all on the list, because I got it. I got the list. Matter of fact, I can pull it out somewhere, but I won't do that for these purposes right now. But there's a bucket list of things and places I want to go and things I want to see. Grand Canyon, all that, man.
Okay,
I forgot all about the Grand Canyon.
Little things. I love my music. I love my media, watching good shows, good TV, good movies, things like that. I would lean towards travel. Just being able to see special places in the world and meet brand new people. Meet people that I've never seen before. Go to a place that I've never been before and don't know anything about. I think that's probably where, if money was not an object, that's probably what I'd do. I'd travel. I know I'd have either a Madden bus or a Winnebago or something like that.
Alright. You take your games with you to go do it.
Join Tony on the Tony Express. Next week he's going to be in St. Louis. And week after that he's going to be in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Come get your t-shirts and autographs.
Nice.
I love it.
All right, fellas. Well, on that note, I think we've had a pretty good session. So I will just check and see if there's anyone that wants to add anything or say anything special.
I think we're all in agreement on this one.
Okay. Well, in that case, I'm going to alley-oop it to Terrence for the close.
As always, we appreciate each and every one of y'all out there. Thank y'all for listening. Like, share, and subscribe. God bless you. Good night. Deuce.
Peace out, everybody.
Peace.
Bye, everybody.